Crushing the meta.
A big welcome to our channel. We are Team Crushing the Meta. Today I'm here with Glacian.
Hey guys.
So we will do the first V deck for you guys. So for standard we are doing today from the Excel. We're doing Novas.
Yeah, we're doing Novas. To be precise, this is Perfect Raizer.
Yep. We will do all three, or three we made. All of them for standard, and if you really want to see premium, we could do that as well. Maybe ask JJ, that would be nice. But yeah, let's wait and see. First, let's start with Raizers, then we will do heroes, and then
we have Azura.
We have Azura. So some of them are a bit budget, but that's also nice for you guys to know that you could make a very strong budget deck as well.
Oh, absolutely.
Yeah. So how much does this deck cost?
Well, this one, well, I got some SVRs, and of course, the more expensive marker with the VRs. Currently, I'd say around 120-ish, 100, depending on how you buy it, but something like that. Compared to G decks, they're not all that expensive.
So let's say for 100 euros or $100, you could make a complete Perfect Raizer deck without SVR.
Yeah,
so just
basically.
VRs and everything that you need.
Yeah, at this point, you should be able to do it, yeah.
Okay. So yeah, let's just start with the deck. First, how much markers would you think that you need? We talked about this before. I think myself about 4 is the right number. If you want to be safe, then you could do what Glacian is doing.
I've put 6 in this deck purely because you will see I have 6 marker units, so I'll not run out of possibilities.
Yep.
But like G-Boy said...
You could run whatever you want, because there is no limit to how much markers you
exactly.
have. And better safe than sorry, I guess.
Yeah, that was my reason. Like, if I have to write all 6 of them, at least I have 6 markers. Now, I have plenty enough of the things, so might as well.
Alright, so let's start with the Great Threes.
Right. First off, we have...
4 copies.
The main unit.
Perfect Raizer.
Personally, I am not one for the max rarity usually, but I really do like the art on the SDR. The orange and gold mixes well really good with the gold and red armor. Looks really nice. Yeah, this unit, you base the whole deck around this unit actually. His ability is amazing. When he attacks, you counterblast 2 and 2 of your rear guards restand. And that alone is a frightening ability because your opponent cannot stop that from happening as long as you have the counterblasts. The worst part is that if your opponent actually decides, okay, I'll let him hit because the other rear guards will be stronger, he'll be punished by a counter charge and an additional 5,000 power to one of your rear guards. So the on-hit pressure and the ability to restand your rear guards makes him really good. In my eyes, of the VRs, he is definitely my favorite. That's the reason I picked the clan as well. And he makes the deck work. Without him, the whole Axel circles wouldn't be that interesting.
The thing is with this card is that most of the VRs, you want to run them late game, right into him. But you can keep riding into Perfect Raizer. As long as you have the counter charge, which you do, because we'll come back to that later. This clan counter charge is crazy. So each turn you attack with him, you can counterblast 2 to restand 2 of your units. And when you ride him for the second time, that would mean you could stand 2 rear guards on an Axel circle. Getting 1 front trigger would mean that those clans will get an extra 20k with the marker they have on them. So let's say that you have a rear guard on that which is just a 12k, that would be able to hit the 32, I guess. So that's just insane. 32 attacking into a 12k Vanguard, which most of the clans would have. That would mean that they would need like 2 cards from their hand at least to guard. So, which means that they need an extra 4 cards from them hand to guard the extra 2 attacks.
Not to mention, that is after at least 3 attacks have already happened, because 2 rear guards and him have already attacked, and then 2 more will hit you. And
when you combine him with the next card, that would mean even more cards have to be discarded, and that's just disgusting. Actually.
Exactly, it's this one that D-Boy is referring to, because this one on the Axle Circle is disgusting. This unit's skill basically says if it's not boosted, it gets 10k extra power. And that makes, when he restands on an Axle Circle, it's 32k, even without a front trigger. It's a huge beat stick. It's a real problem to deal with.
Yep. So, with the theory that I talked about, this would even be a 42 attacker. If you get the front trigger and if it's put on the certain Axle Circle.
It's ridiculous.
Yep. But that's not everything, because if you're not really that far into the game, let's say you ride first and you have only one circle on them, and you think my first attack should be something that is not boosted, but your opponent would still need 2 cards to guard it, and that's when we come to the thing.
This unit.
Yeah. So this is actually something that I think, or we think, most of the Axle clans will get.
Yep.
Like the Protect clans will get something with you can't guard with grade 1s, guard restrictions. This is the mini Fidesses, as Glacian like to call it.
Yeah, the skill reminded me a lot of Fides, and it's a really interesting skill because you can really trick your opponent with this. Because what the card says, that every time your opponent decides to guard, he has to do so with 2 cards minimum. Which means that when he guards, he can just put down 2 or 3 cards. But, and this is the fun thing, if your opponent decides to guard, and then decides, oh, I want to guard more, he has to put down another 2. He's not allowed to just put down 1, because he has to guard with 2 at a time.
Yeah, the thing is with Perfect Vanguard, if you don't know, you can only put your guardians 1 by 1. It's always like this. But when it comes to him, you would have to choose between putting 1 or 2 at the same time. He says you have to put 2 at the same time to be able to guard him. So actually, he is going through the rules and changing them a little bit. Because when it comes to cards like Mayhem Tiger or Fides, you will have to put the guardians 1 by 1. But Fides said if you guard with only 1 card, the attack will go through. But with him, you have to put the 2 cards at the same time, which is something that actually you can't normally do in Perfect Vanguard. But yeah, so that's also very interesting.
Basically, if you're lower on counterblasts and you know your opponent's hand, you know he has a perfect guard in his hand or something, this is your finisher. This one can be really dangerous because even if they put down a perfect guard, they have to put down something else, which is something Fides couldn't do. Fides made you guard it. If you put down a perfect guard, Fides' skill would just not work on it. But this guy will work. Not only that, he's also a decent rear guard. He's not as good as Maximum Raizer, and he's not as good as a Vanguard as Perfect Raizer, but he combines the 2 roles. Perfect Raizer will be really bad as a rear guard, and Maximum Raizer can be a Vanguard, but you'd rather not. This guy is good enough on both slots. On an Axle Circle, he'll get an additional 5k power as well. So, this is a very popular card. You'll see him in more decks than just this one. It's a surprise this is only a rare. Many people value this one above Azura, which is the triple rare that we got. This card is really good.
The thing is, just him having the exo marker on him makes him a way better Vanguard.
Exactly. Then we go on to the grade 2s, and we'll start off with the main grade 2, which is high-powered Custom Raizer. We run 4 copies of this unit.
You can put it right here.
Alright. So what does high-powered Custom Raizer do? First of all, he has a rear guard and Vanguard skill on both his abilities. And his first skill allows you to call Battle Raizer, which is the grade 0, from your soul to the field. Next up, his ability says, if he hits an attack, you can put the Battle Raizer back into the soul, counterblast 1, and restand another one of your rear guards. Which is a very decent early rush ability, because early game is when you'll be hitting the most attacks. When people especially now still with the G mindset era, are not playing a full field and are just taking those first hits because counter blasts and everything. And this is why Axel at this point of the reboot is gonna be really strong, because people still need to adapt to the new mindset. And Axel players, good Axel players, can abuse that. At least that is my opinion on the matter.
I think that I have to agree with Glaceon on that. We've talked about this, me and him, before, just before making this video, and I told him that I think that the Axel clans will be at a disadvantage when the game, let's say in the future, would change. The reason is that you will always have to fill up your Axel circles, and having force markers on your own normal record circles would mean that you can just call in those slots and restand them, or call on top of them, or do something with that. But when it comes to Nova grapplers, let's say you ride first, so your opponent's Vanguard is the strongest great one that they could have is a 9k, right? With some of the vanilla great ones from the standard.
That's another thing Axel has indeed. I don't have it here.
No. But the thing is, this card could still hit, and boosted by the Grade 0 that,
This is something else Axel clans have. It's a 0 defense, 9k, grade 1 vanilla. It's another one of their specialties.
Yeah, so this is also very nice. By having, let's say that your opponent has the strongest grade 1 as they could, which is this.
Which is for Axel is 9.
Yeah, so this could still hit, and boosted by the grade 0 that you call from your soul, you could still hit for at least a 10k from their hand, meaning that they have to guard early. Otherwise, you'll be able to restand. Commit to the field, attack, rush your opponent, but when they get into the grade 2, and their grade 2 is, let's say, a 10k, then this strategy will be a bit harder to get off.
We'll keep on the strategy, because this whole deck is built based on the fundamentals that D-Boy just explained. Commit to the field. Don't commit to the late game. Don't plan ahead. Commit to the field. And with that, we're moving to the next part of our important grade 2 lineup, which is the other half of the high custom Raizer, is Burst Raizer. Now, Burst Raizer is a little bit different. He's more expensive in cost, but he works so well with high-powered custom. His ability is when the Vanguard attacks, counterblast, soul blast, and restand himself. If your opponent has 4 or more damage, you gain 3000 attack. Now, what you generally want to do is first attack with this guy, then you will attack with high power custom Raizer. If he hits, this one restands, then your Vanguard, and you can restand again. Of course, you can also reverse the combo and attack with this one, then your Vanguard, so that the trigger applies to the whole field. It depends kind of on the situation, your boosters, point of the game, etc., etc.
How much damage your opponent has.
Exactly, all that kind of things, because
that's one of the cards that would be played in premium and standard.
Premium, this guy and this guy are a disaster, because this guy can just attack 3 times, which means he attacks, this one restands and attacks, he attacks, this one restands, and he attacks, restand, attack, and it can go up to 4 times.
This is actually very interesting, that his skill, the power that he gets until the end of turn and not the end of battle.
Exactly.
But also he's not once per turn, which is something that they actually, Bushiroad is doing this very smart. They're giving some of the hidden effects that you could use in premium. And this is one of those skills. You can use him or abuse him again with Stark or with Favorite Champ or whatever Nova Crafters.
People were very fast to pick up on the whole Stillwater and Silent Tom thing. And shortly after, they figured out, Overlord can have a restand that works 3 times, and there's an ability within Blaster. She can call that new Blaster with a crit on the first right turn because of the old Flogel crit and Barkle and stuff. But nobody really picked up as fast on this. Took a little while, but Bushi's doing this with everyone. People picked up on the whole thing with Zoa being unblockable before they even thought of this combo. But Bushi's doing this to everyone, so for all you guys out there who are still getting clan support, watch to see what kind of OP combo you're getting from Bushi. Because they're out there. They are definitely happening. And on that note, in a month, we'll be telling the one about Touchy.
I will not be telling that one. I'll only be showing.
Then we have a card that every clan at the moment wish they had. This guy is stupidly good. As long as you don't have more than 2 counter charges, you counter charge. As long as you don't have more than 1 soul, you soul charge. Which means that all the cost efficiency, you can just keep up with this one. And he's still a 9k attacker. So you don't sacrifice anything for playing him. You just get free counter charge and free soul charge.
It's like the later skill that Victor has, like an extra counter charge and extra soul charge. It's pretty nice. You need it, so why not?
Yeah.
And you don't really go that fast through your deck, so that soul charges is just great. You will not deck out. Definitely not in standard.
Your opponent will try to not only kill your rear guards, but starve you with counter blasts. And because of this guy and some of the other cards we'll be seeing, 2 damage is all you need to continuously use Perfect Raizer. That's all you need. And that's why the deck is built as it is and uses him. I have only 3 of him in there because, in my opinion, that is more than enough. 3 counter charges and 3 soul charges should be more than enough, together with all the other counter charges this deck has to offer.
Okay, this is something very interesting. You're running about 11 grade 2s,
yes.
Right? People would think, okay, Glacian, you told us you want to rush. Why are you running so much grade 3s? Because you're running 8 or 9 grade 3s? 8, right?
8, just 8. Which is actually a small number compared to most decks.
Yeah, but they would still say, Glacian, you told us you want to rush from the start, so you're running 8 grade 3s. That would mean that you could run 11 grade 2s and only 14 grade 1s. How could you rush and fill up your Excel circles? And the reason is you still want to go into Raizer as fast as you can.
Of course.
Because just the counterblast 2. Let's say you go first. You rush your opponent into 3 damage. Yeah, that just should be possible. Then you ride into your grade 3. From there on, you will have at least 5 attacks, right?
Yes.
Or even more, because you can just fill up your cards, circles. You have 3 attacks, 1 from your Vanguard, 2 from your normal Raizer.
If you ride Raizer, you have 6 attacks on your first
Yep. So that would mean that they need like 6, 7, 8 cards to guard all of those.
Oh yeah.
Well, there is no clan till now in standard that have that much cards. Even Oracle Think Tank, they can't go into...
Oracle Think Tank can do it, but by doing so, they have to use those important... Because Oracle Think Tank is all about the important pieces. They need their Silent Tom and their Reindeer and all that stuff. And they then have to start using that to guard. And if they collect such a hand, which they do, they make it really easy for Nova because they don't put any pressure. I have a lot of pictures where I've won against the premium OTT deck, and I only have 2 damage because they save that hand and they don't put out any pressure.
Yeah, if they play premium, they will wait into the Silent Tom Stillwater combo.
Exactly, but you don't allow them to get there.
Well, they could try, but I still think that even getting the 8 cards in your hand and guarding everything,
it's too much.
That would mean they could not destroy your first turn, call everything. Because let's say you ride first into grade 1, then you go into grade 2, right?
Nope.
Then you call 2 units. Then you call some boosters. Mostly you got your starter out to the field. So you have 3 strong attacks. They would have to guard that.
Yes.
And then you go into the next turn, you have 7 attacks. They would have to guard that too. Well,
yeah.
That would just destroy them.
And that's the power Axel has right now, that rush potential. And Nova does use that very well.
And also remember that your grade 3s also, most of them are very good Raigar, so...
Yeah, that's the thing I've chosen for. At least 4 of them are good rare guards. 2 of them are almost exclusively rare guards. Really, really good rare guards. But we still have some grade 1s, and those are terrifying rare guards for rushing as well. To start off, we have Raizer Custom, which is like the prelude to high-powered Raizer. Now, most of you know the skill from the TV series if you watch the anime, and but we're gonna explain it anywhere. We see twice a once per turn thing, which is actually rare. You don't see a lot of once per turn things on on the V cards yet. But basically, his first skill allows you to put, if you are first, so you start the game, you put one card from your soul, hand into your soul, you get to attack on your first turn.
So it's actually free because you will drive check.
No, you won't, because you do lose. It's -1 drive check,
Okay.
so you do lose a drive check.
Yeah, so you just minus yourself 1, but getting extra attack.
Yeah, basically, sure. But of course, we all have those starters now that say draw a card. So that's alright. Its more magnificent skill, though, and sadly Bushi did put this on once per turn, is that it can restand with the unit that's in this restands in the same column as him. So you have this guy in the back row, and he will restand together with the other rearguard that restands. So when our friend Perfect Raizer restands, this guy will restand as well. That's a pretty nice combo because he gets 3,000, which makes this another 20k attack. That's why this is like the primary grade 1 rearguard because of its ability. The other two, however, are terrifying for different reasons. Your early game preferred rearguard, especially during the rush turn, is Jet Raizer. Because Jet Raizer gets 3,000 power for every rearguard that you call. So, if it's your grade 2 turn, you call this guy, you call another grade 2, another grade 2, he just gets 6,000, another unit, 9,000, and makes him a pretty hard boost. You can even just call him in the front row to attack at that point. Substantial amounts of power.
But he's only a 7k. So if you, let's say you ride him, your opponent's at 8k, you will have to call something to hide him as a booster. But you mostly in standard do anyway.
Well, you will only call him in the front row if you're going to start calling more units, so his power will keep rising. That is his weakness. He's good at the turns where you have to call a lot, because he gets power for calling. So after that, he's not all that interesting.
Yeah, but leaving him in the front row, I mean, your opponents have to still get rid of him.
Exactly. And you can just shift him back for a new grade 2 otherwise.
I remember, guys, you always get an extra circles as an exo circle, so they would have to still attack into him to get rid of him. And otherwise, you could always go into the exo circles. You would never replace him. You could always just put him into the back and call something else.
Of course, it's still a 7k boost. Then we have the 8k Trans Raizer, which is the third and final part of Nova's countercharge engine. This unit allows you to Soul Blast 2 to countercharge 1, and then he gains a 3,000, so then he becomes an 11k booster. And this is when he boosts, can't do any attacks, but still, Soul Blast 2, countercharge 1. If you play this column, that means that as long as you have 2 damage, you'll be able to use Perfect Raizer. So this basically guarantees that Perfect Raizer will always go off. That's it for the grade 1s. But wait, what? We're done with the grade 1s? But it was only 12 of them. It's because we play 3 starters. And the reason behind that is, of course, because this guy works with their ability. Also, if you write him first, putting one of these into your soul is just perfect. Remember that when you call this guy, you have to call one of them out of your soul. And if the effect goes off, you can put them back into your soul. So that guarantees more soul charges. 6k booster is really not that different from a 7k booster, not even in this meta. So that's why I play 3 of them. Also, they still have 10k shields, which is rare on the grade 1s that I have here.
Well, this is something interesting that Bushido actually did. They gave these starters only 10k shield and not 15k shield.
You can talk about the starter, of course. Every clan has the starter now. When you write on it, you get to draw a card. The reason why I have Battle Raizer is because Battle Raizer, well, it's a Raizer, and he works with high-powered customs. That's the reason. But yes, it is interesting that they kept the shields at 10 and not 15 because of the boost they gave to the normal triggers.
It's also nice because I think a lot of people would like to play multiple grade 1s if they have very good skill. I see that you don't play Cut Butler. You don't play Cut Butler?
I don't play Cat Butler in this deck. No. Maybe it's a weird choice, but I feel like I already have, like, because of Battle Raizer, I have enough grade 0s extra in my deck. And I don't feel like Cat Butler is all that reliant. He's only useful when you're grade 2. And if you manage to draw him later than that, he doesn't do anything anymore because he doesn't restand. He only restands your grade 2 or lower Vanguard. So then he just retires and takes a Soul Blast that I could very much use for other units. Just to give, I think, 5,000 power to a unit. And don't get me wrong, I like him. I play him in the other decks. But I don't play him in Raizers, no. Another something we're going to look at is the trigger lineup. Now, here are, of course, the dreaded new front triggers. The thing exclusive to Axel. Currently, we run 6 of those. Front triggers, for those who don't know, give 10k power to all units in the front row. Vanguard, rear guard, doesn't matter. All of them get that amount of power. Of course, for Axel, which has additional front row circles everywhere, that can stack up really fast and become a really brutal something. I've heard people with power clans complain that they don't have it. I don't think I would even run it in a power clan. I don't think that 10k on 2 units additionally, maybe 3, is worth sacrificing a critical trigger for in something like a power clan, which stacks up power on those rear guards anyway. I don't think it will be that valuable, especially not by the way you play it. Because of this clan and its restanding ability, and the fact that you have all those extra front row units, and you always have basically 2 units in the front row, you just gain much more from the front triggers. That said, planning on Touchy, I'm not even planning on playing them as it is right now because I apply the same logic to there as I do to power clans or protect clans. I don't see me having enough front row units with Touchy all the time to justify it. It's like playing stands. It wouldn't work that well. Now, that's the thing I'm not completely sure about with the trigger lineup yet, and that is the amount, like the ratio. Currently I play 6 fronts and we play 6 crits. Mostly Shining Lady, because I like her. It's good artwork. And then this guy, which is Red Lightning, which is also a familiar older trigger. Like I said, it might shift to 8 fronts, 4 crits. Might even shift the other way around, though I doubt it at this point. But right now, I'm still getting used to the deck and I play 6-6. Main reason I'm considering more front triggers is because they are also really good defensively. They help you protect your rear guards. Because the front triggers are actually, much like heals, useful in defending and attacking. Because if you damage check them, they also give your entire field 10k plus, which makes your protects your rear guards. So it's likely to shift to 8 front triggers, but I still have to do some playtest. And then finally, we have 4 of the perfect card draws. Now, I know that people are really hyped about these, and they're really good, and I recommend playing them in any deck that already plays draws. Because draws, the V draws are 5k shields compared to the other 15 or 20k shields. These are just perfect cards. They do have the same attack power as the normal draws, so there's no drawback in playing them. The only thing is, I see people play them in clans that usually don't play draws, and I think that's a mistake. I think they work particularly well in Axel clans because most Axel clans already play draws. Touchy and Novas are known, and Aqua are known to play draws no matter what. And freeing up 4 slots of perfect guards for 4 more rushing units, that's a great thing. So these in Axel clans, definitely a thing. If you played them in your power or protect clan, force or protect them, go ahead. Still a great thing because they free up those slots. I would not run them in Genesis, for example, because I don't run draws in the Genesis deck. So that's my take on these things.
Yeah, the thing
really
is,
cool.
When it comes to these, this actually does change a lot when it comes to Card of Vanguard. Not only that you have the open slots on your Great Ones, but also when there are some clans that say you can't guard with Great Ones, then you can guard with these. Let's say the Zawa combo. So there are a lot of things to keep in mind when you play these. Also remember that the power on a normal draw trigger in this standard is also only 5k. That's also something very nice to keep in mind. So if you play draw triggers but you really don't want to have the 5k shield in place of the 15k shield, you could still play these. And that's what Glacian actually meant. That you are not losing anything by playing these. But as I said, keep in mind, while playing these, there's also something very interesting that Glacian talked about. When it comes to Aquaforce, they play a lot of draws because they like to call them in the early game, attack with them by boosted, or use them as boosters. We saw that a lot by putting their starter behind the rear guard, just to be able to hit. But in this situation, you don't want to call your perfect guards.
No.
So maybe then you will use the Great Ones. So yeah, it's actually very interesting how people approach this, and I don't think that there is a stable thing when it comes to this. Some people play 2-on-2 because they're just confused and they don't know yet, or they think, well, I can always guard with these, and I do play at least 2 draws in my deck, but why would you if you already play Oracle Think Tank? I don't know.
Exactly, it's confusing to me too. But...
yeah, but I think it's just something that people would like to do. But I also want to hear from more people what they think about this, and I think that I would do a video just to like an interview of a lot of good players, that what's their approach on this. So keep that in mind and watch that if it comes.
Of course, we have a last thing to talk about, because if you watch the trigger lineup, you'll see that heals are absent from my trigger lineup. And there's a very simple reason behind that. Yes, heals give you 5 more shield than front or crits do. Yes, heals have the ability to remove damage, but the thing is, they don't do nothing for a rush clan. If you play a clan like an Exo clan and you are playing it well, there should not be a point where you're behind on damage. You should always have the event. You should, if you play well, you'll be upset when you drive track a heal trigger or even damage check it. Because either you're equal to your opponent and you lose a counterblast, or it doesn't go off at all. That's the reason why I choose not to have heals in this deck and make it fully on aggressive. Because G-guards are no longer a thing. And I don't see the point in heals in a rush deck if you don't have the G-guard.
This is something that I did before. Before the G-guards came out, I never really played heals. Even in the limit break era, because I thought I needed my limit break. My opponent always had more damage than me, so I never heal. The only thing that you get, as Glacian said, the extra 5k, but it does not make that much of a difference. Maybe only when you play against Kaikuro, when you play against, what's his name, Waterfall, then they could make a change, they could make a difference. But remember, that is a late game card. And again, you should not go into late game when you play this deck.
Exactly, and that's why I opted for my main deck at least not to use any heal triggers. And so far, it's been working.
So that's actually it for this deck profile. Tell us what you want to see next. Also tell us which kind of profile do you like to see more. The kind that we put the whole deck at the start and we talk about it, or the kind that you see the multiple cards. We thought it would be nice to do it just the old way, fashion way, because we could talk about the skills of every card. Also, you could see the art completely. So tell us about it. Comment about that, and we definitely want to hear your thoughts. And also, if you want, you could also put your thoughts about the new Perfect Guards. Which one would you use in your Nova Grappler deck? Thanks guys for watching.
Thank you.
Till next time.
See you later.
Crushing the meta.